Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Reawakened Mom podcast. I am here with my friend who we met, I think it was probably like 4 years ago now,
Yeah.
maybe like give or take, because, the pandemic, I'm like, it could have been six. But my friend Kristine Schwartz, how are you, my friend?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I cannot wait to share. The last time we talked was pre-baby, and you kind of
Mhm.
shared with me that you were pregnant, but you hadn't put it out yet. So I love now that I'm seeing you and hearing about your 5-month-old beauty and how life is as an entrepreneur with a baby, because it definitely is different, right?
It's a trip.
Yeah. it, oh, I thought you were going to say, yeah, it's a
Oh
trip.
no, I could keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's been a real trip, and I mean that in the most beautiful way possible, but it's a learning and the balancing act is real. And so I'm working through all the things, but things are going well. 5 months, I feel like I'm getting over the hump.
Yeah. Getting over the hump. And then there's like, okay, then there's a new one. What's happening now?
Yep.
Now she's teething. Like now we got this
Yep.
going on. So anyway, reach out for anything that you need. Totally here for you, girl.
Thank
But
you.
let me introduce you and all your amazingness, because really, this podcast is for that reawakened mom. And there's so many moms that are listening that, are really looking for that thing, right? That thing that's going to light you up, that thing that's going to make your life just, feel full of passion, feel full of like, gosh, this is my thing. This is what lights me up. And I really want to talk about that with you, because you are an expert at this, I feel, and you really draw that out in women. And we just were sharing before this. I should have been recording, because I'm like, that's what we need. We need more women. We need more mamas out there putting their light out into the world, because we are so powerful, and we have to stop like shutting ourselves down and having those limiting beliefs and really get that out into the world, because we are powerful women and we need more of us to be just sharing our light, because that's it. So, and let me introduce you. Okay, before you talk, let me introduce you, because you're amazing. Okay. So Kristine is a business and marketing coach that works with coaches, creatives, and all kinds of impact-driven female entrepreneurs. She runs a mastermind that helps women build high-ticket offers, authentic sales, and marketing roadmaps with ease. Oh, I love that last word, ease. Like, that is just magical to me. So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to be this amazing, amazing woman in business.
Oh, thank you so much, first and
Yeah.
foremost, for that intro. And yeah, so I grew up in suburbia in Minnesota, and went to college, went up to the tundra of Duluth, Minnesota. I left for a short stint, came on back, and I'm still here, even though the storms are insane. But I do love it. I love the outdoors. I love all the things that it brings here in northern Minnesota. And me as an entrepreneur really started in corporate. So I'm one of those corporate junkies turned entrepreneur, and it really came from a layoff. So I think when we met, I was probably 8 months into my entrepreneur journey.
Yeah.
And I had since been in corporate. So I worked in corporate retail, and I was consistently reinventing myself. I think as women, we have to push so freaking hard to get to where we want to be, especially whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're in the marketplace, working in corporate, whatever it is. It's a little bit harder than men. I'll just say that. And I'm not trying to do gender bias here, but it is difficult. And we have, as mamas, we got a lot of things on our plate too that we have to juggle. So I was laid off in 2019, and I was one layoff. I had worked my way up the corporate ladder. I'd gone to grad school. I did all the things you're supposed to do. And I kept taking positions in the company. I knew all the higher ups. And so it was a real shocker to me. And I'm telling you, my life was wrapped around my career. Like I came home, I slept, breathed, ate at this position, and I did everything I could to work my way up the ladder. And I'm telling you, when I was laid off, it was traumatic. I went into kind of a little bit of a spiral. And even though within a week I started my business, I said, no one's ever going to do this to me again. I'm taking control of my future. And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it my way. And so my rejection was my redirection. And it took me a while to find my niche, right? What lights you up, what gets you excited. And that was a journey in itself, but it's been so much fun. And to be honest, I thought it was one thing and it turned out to be a complete other thing. So you may think because you've done this thing all along, you have all of this knowledge, you know so much, you have expertise in this space that you have to do that thing. And that's just not the truth, right? We can pull different pieces of our skills, assets, things that we know and apply them in different ways. And so when I got really clear on that, that's when things really started to flow and this journey became even more fun. And I was able to step even more into my purpose. So it's been a lot of fun, and that's a little big, but we can go deeper. So
Yeah, well, I love that because, I think we as women need permission to change because we don't have to stay the same and we don't have to do what everyone else is doing. And we're allowed to shift. There's different seasons in life when maybe you do want to work that corporate job and then maybe you have kids and you're like, I want to be at home now, or maybe I'm in this career. And even though I went to school for it and I had a master's degree, like it's not an alignment anymore. I'm in a different place than I was when that was like my dream job. And I think we need to give more women permission to know that like it's okay. It doesn't make you flaky. It doesn't make you lazy. It doesn't make you weak. Like it's very courageous and brave to shift and change to do what's best for you and your family.
yes, absolutely. And pivoting, I think, is the hardest thing, especially once you are an entrepreneur because you're known for something. And I think we always think people are watching. Everybody's watching and judging me. As women, everybody's judging me every moment of the day, right? Whether it's on social media, my peers, whatever it is. And we have to let go of that because it just doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, every single person that's listening right now, you are 100% worthy of what you want to achieve. And it doesn't matter if it's completely out of your comfort zone and something you haven't tapped into. Everything that we have learned has taken time. And so you have to give yourself permission, like you said, Melissa, to step into those places and just dabble and play and have fun with it. We only live once. Like we got to play and dabble a little bit and see what feels good to us.
Yeah. So I would love to like dive a little deeper in your
Yeah, for
entrepreneur
sure.
journey. So when you became an entrepreneur, so when you had this layoff, you were devastated, but you're like, no more, no one is ever going to do that to me again. I'm going to be in control of this. Where did you start? Because that is like, it's like, that is what can shut so many women down, feeling overwhelmed. Like there's too many things. I don't even know where to start. How did you start? And then like, it sounds like you've shifted too. So have you shifted in your own
Oh, yeah.
entrepreneur journey to say, hey, I was known for this, but now like this
Yep.
lights me up and I'm known for this. I would love to dive into those two things.
Sure, definitely. So how I started, I'm really good on a deadline. I'm really good when I'm like, I'm going to do this thing. And once I do it, I commit to it. And so I just opened the LLC. I just did it. I was like, screw it. I can DBA it if I wanted to, doing business as. And I did. I ended up doing business as Reinvent Your Hustle. It's actually Schwartz Jensen Consulting. And what triggered this was prior to the layoff, an old boss of mine was like, hey, Kristine, do you want to consult for Urban Outfitters? And I said, as long as it's not a conflict of interest, I would love that. That would be awesome. I mean, urban, who wouldn't want to? That didn't pan out, but I'm like, that was the trigger. I'm like, if I could do this while I was working my corporate job, and dang it, I have helped people that are making billions of dollars, and I can work with small business owners, so you got to look at what you're doing right now. How can you help somebody else with what you're doing right now, whatever it is? And so that was really the trigger. I started the LLC and then I just dove into like creating a website and blogging. Now, I will not say that that is the best way to do things. I think we get sucked in the pretties, we get sucked in the design and the creative work when that's not going to make us any money, right? So I said to myself, okay, I'm going to consult. And I just went around locally and I realized I'm like, this is not the world I want to be in. It's such a small town. I wanted to spread my wings, go digital and work with women all over the country. And although it felt like this far out dream, I was like, other people are doing it. How do they do it? And I'm like, okay, build the website, start blogging. I thought, of course, I was going to make money off my blog. Like that was funny, right? And what ended up happening was I was consulting with businesses. I thought I had to work in retail because that's what I knew. I thought I had to work with males and females because I already had a couple of male clients. That wasn't the case of where I wanted to end up. And I was stuck. I think it took me 8 months to realize I needed a coach, and I finally got one. And then I didn't get the service I needed. Like I needed that one-on-one support. I just wanted someone to be able to like pull the things out of me.
Yeah.
I think all too often what ends up happening is we're so close to it that unless we have someone that can like see our gaps, right? Like our strengths, our gaps, and like what we're really trying to say, we just keep going. We just keep going without like somebody telling us. And so that's what I really needed. Once I finally got a coach that was able to like dig in with me and say, hey, you actually, wait, you want to work with women? Just freaking work with women.
Yeah.
Just work with women. What's wrong with that? Oh, you want to work with service-based entrepreneurs? Just do it. But I thought everyone was watching,
Yeah.
and I was only a year into my business. I had my Instagram. I was always on it. And I'm like, screw it. I'm changing my messaging. It was just little tweaks here and there. And the kicker is like, I wasn't even that big of a deal. Like I thought I was such a big deal. And I'm like, nobody's watching me. Just change your dang niche. And I did. And I'm so happy that I did. So now I work with female entrepreneurs, and it feels so good because here's the deal. All these women out there, they have something to say. And I know how hard it is to step into your power when you've been rejected or you've had trauma or you've had transition, and just feeling like an expert and feeling confident in your space. And so every time I work with a woman and they feel like confident in their message and they feel confident in their niche, it's like, yes, this is a huge win because now you can go change the freaking world in whatever way that is, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of the journey. And like I said, it took some time. It probably took me about a year to switch out my niche to what I really wanted to do. But that pivot was what I needed. And then I pivoted again a year later from what I was offering type of thing. So
I love it because you're giving people permission. Like it's okay to shift and change. You're also saying it's not about me. People don't even care. They're not looking. They don't even notice most of the time unless they're trolls and you don't want them in your world anyway.
exactly.
You're like, they're not my people. Delete, goodbye. Like, what are you doing? Like, well, excuse me, what are you doing? Exactly. Nothing.
Yeah.
You're just trolling.
I'm good on that. That energy just doesn't serve me. So bye-bye.
Yeah, but you also are showing it takes time. Like you don't have to know the whole story and the whole journey right now. You don't have to like have your whole life planned out to the T, like this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. No, you don't know what's coming. You just have to start.
Well, and the kicker with that is, right, everyone is a different personality type. So what I have found with a lot of my clients is there's a lot of people that need to know the how am I going to get there? Like, yeah, that's great. I put my vision on paper. Like, this is what I want, but how am I going to get there? And that's what holds them back. Because if I don't know how to do something, it's like this, oh my gosh, now I can't move. I can't move forward. And what I say to people all the time is I'm like, you don't need to know the how, but if you don't put something out there, there's no North Star to go towards. There's no, like, you don't know what you're marching towards. You can't create goals or intentions or milestones or anything if we don't know what we truly want. And so it's spending time in the quiet, spending time truly trying to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah. Is that what you would say is like holding most female entrepreneurs back, is like that fear of like, I don't know where to start, or there's too many things out there, or
it's always fear.
It's the fear.
Always fear, whether it's fear of money and investing, or it's fear of judgment, it's fear of imposter syndrome, or it's fear of, I don't know who to trust. It's always fear, no matter what. And what I've found is like, those are deeply rooted. They're not just like these surface level fears. For example, when we were on our mastermind retreat in the Virgin Islands this last March, we were having conversations about money. Right? Well, what are these money fears? There's these money stories that are always going around in our heads. And where do those come from? They come from deep conditioning from when we were kids, right? So whether it's the influences in our life, our parents, whatever it is, those things that we've been conditioned to think about actually frame our reference for what's true and right now in the present, when those things have actually been proven not to be true. The grass is not always greener, right? Or, oh, it must be nice. Or the money story of, money doesn't grow on trees. Or I'm sure we've all heard these stories, and you have to ask yourself, like, is that really true? No, it's not true. It's just something somebody else said and has been ingrained in me. And now I fear that there's not enough money to go around. I fear that there's not enough clients out there. There's not enough people that would want me. There's not people that would want to work with me. Right. So it's deeply rooted into different things. So whatever that fear is that's holding you back, take a look at that fear. And then what I would highly recommend is journal around that and take some quiet time and figure out, like, what is this actually coming from? If there's someone that you feel comfortable having a conversation with, I would say, okay, this is like, I think this is what's holding me back from moving forward. Let them ask you questions and dig a little bit deeper, because once we uncover that fear, now we can start manifesting. But if that fear is sitting there, we can't manifest something that we fear. You know what I mean? So ultimately, we have to uncover that truth so that we can be more self-aware and then start taking steps towards what we truly want, so we can step into that highest self.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I mean, you have really scaled your business, and that's also like what you're coaching women on, is to scale your business to be like 6 figures and above.
Yep.
And that can scare so many women to be able to do that, or to make money, or to be seen, or I'm not enough, or who am I? So like, is that how you kind of start? Do you start with kind of a money mindset thing, or like, how do you help women, these amazing female entrepreneurs who maybe have never been an entrepreneur, but have had an idea? How do you help them scale whatever that dream is, that passion, to be 6 figures, so that we can do amazing things with this money that we are having come into us, that energetic exchange?
Yeah, absolutely. So it starts with vision. Getting really clear. I have a vision meditation that I send to people. And really, it sounds silly, but like, until you're able to put some of these things down on paper, I can do some magic, but I can't do that much magic. Like, you gotta tell me what you want, right? So once those women are able to actually sit down and figure out, this is what I would love to create, this is the change I want to create, or the result I want to create for a client, or this is what I want to manifest. Cool. Okay. Now let's talk about putting it into a framework. So when I help women build high ticket offers, it's always the same framework. It's figuring out, okay, ultimately, how are you going to get your client from point A to point B? And what is the direct outcome you're going to create for them? And then from there, we build it out and say, well, what's the steps you bring them through to get to that place? Right. And then typically how I help them is like, whatever they have. So some people are doing one-on-one coaching, some people are doing do it for you programs, or whatever they're doing, if they're a creative or a coach or you name it. And I say, okay, now let's take this and put it into whether it's a mastermind or a group program, or a like looking at a mentorship program, and saying, okay, we obviously have to charge a little bit more. We have to look at the value that you're creating, right? You think it's transformational. That's amazing. Then let's make sure that we're pricing it appropriately. And I think that's one of the pieces that women have a problem with too. It's like, I can't ask for that much money. Well, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Let's talk through the value that you're providing. When you get clear on the transformation you're creating for others, it becomes a lot easier. And you can't go out and sell something if you don't believe in it. Like, you got to believe in it. You got to know that it's going to change people's lives, or it's going to give them this amazing result. And you're freaking awesome. So absolutely, we just have to. So where do I start? I start with kind of identifying where they truly want to go. And then we take with whatever they have, and it's building a framework to getting there. Then it's applying, how do we price it, right? Then how do we sell it? And it's all about feeling really authentic in your own voice. And that comes from confidence in your offer. Bottom line.
I love that. You start with that, and then you're like, okay, now you have it. And then that marketing piece, I feel like that's another hang up for women, because there's so many places where you can market. There's so many places where you can be visible. Do you try to have people like go everywhere, or you're like, hey, find your spot? Because like, we're busy mamas. Like, we've got kids to take care of. I'm at baseball games. Like, you got your baby, she's not sleeping. Like, we got to maximize our time here, and like what feels good. So like, that marketing piece, I feel like, can be so tricky, because you feel like you want to be everywhere, and you
Yep.
feel like, I know that message and that vision is clear. So now you kind of narrow down who you're talking to. But talk us through like that marketing strategy and kind of how you get women to really believe in that marketing aspect, and like the value in yourself, I feel like is so strong, and like what you're putting out there is valuable. That's hard to hear sometimes, I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think ultimately, when you're trying to create marketing behind it and selling yourself, some people aren't comfortable going on video, or they're not comfortable voicing like what they believe, right? Or jumping on Instagram, or creating a podcast. And so, first of all, well, I will tell you a little baby story. I don't even know, like 10, 12, whatever. I answered the phone one day, and this gentleman was like, "Hey, can I speak with your mother?" And I said, "Yeah, 1 second." So I handed the phone to my mom, and he said, "Oh, I just got off the phone with your son. It was nice to meet your son." And I'm like, oh my gosh, right? I've always had this fear of my own voice. I don't think any of us like to listen to our own voice, but I always felt it's so low. I sound like a man, right? And this comes from conditioning from when I was a kid. Just
Yeah.
told you the story. And ultimately that carried through to me jumping on video, jumping on podcasts, right? And so when I was starting my business, I had to redo the video 15 times. I couldn't go live because I was scared shitless, right? Excuse me if I can't say that
No,
word.
you're fine, girl. You're fine.
I was like, for fear of judgment, because ultimately I know my voice is low. I know that it can come off really commanding, and I didn't want to intimidate people. And I also didn't want people to think I was like, I didn't want people to think I was a imposter. I felt like an imposter. So I just have to keep doing it over and over and over again. And ultimately that allowed me to get more confident on video. And so you just have to start somewhere. You have to pick. So I always ask, I'm like, do you like to write, or do you like to speak? Like, what do you like to do? Right? Let's step into that place. And that's where you can start to put yourself out there. I'm an Insta girl. I love Instagram. I'm also a Pinterest girl. And as soon as, I help my people build funnels, right? It's figuring out like, this is my big offer. Now, how do we break it down to get people there and automate that funnel? Because the kicker is you don't have to pay for ads. Certainly, I'm not saying anything's bad about ads. I have paid for ads. They've worked in the past.
Nope, we're stamping it right here. I'm going to say, nope, you said don't pay for ad.
Well, here's the deal though. You can create an organic funnel. You absolutely can. If you are not aware, Pinterest is a SEO platform, just like Google, but it's visual. And so there's a really great opportunity there to bring in email capture, right? So we can leverage Pinterest to grow your email list, then to bring people in as clients. There's opportunity on Instagram, right? If you want to use your voice, if you want to get on video, TikTok, all the things. I'm not a TikTok expert, I'm not going to lie. But what I'm saying is pick the platform that you enjoy. Even if you're a little uncomfortable, you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. That's what entrepreneurship is. If you don't want to push yourself out of your comfort zone, don't become an entrepreneur, because it's risky, it's uncomfortable. We have to take risks all the time, right? And suck it up, mama, because you can do this, but you're going to have to step into vulnerability at some point, right?
And there's a whole like force of women that are doing this. Like, find your tribe. Like that is the most important thing. Like, you're not alone. Like, that is one of the big messages in this, whatever you're doing. And you are not alone as a female entrepreneur, as a mama entrepreneur, like doing this. And there's so many of us out there doing it, trying to figure it out. None of us know, like, we're trying to figure things out. None of us are perfect. We're always pivoting. Like, we're trying new things, like stories, Instagram, reels, it's all changing. And so are we. So none of us is like the guru, the expert at everything, because we're all evolving ourselves.
Exactly. And I think the what we get caught up in a lot is the scroll and the imposter syndrome, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, you name it. The problem is that everyone's showing their pretty face and nobody's telling the truth. And we're starting to see that turn a little bit, but there's a lot of, this is what my perfect life looks like. This is the reality of what it takes. And so don't get caught up in it. If you're having a problem with the scroll and it's giving you imposter syndrome, turn it off. Excuse me. Give yourself a time limit, right? Make sure you're getting alerts on your phone, how much time you're actually spending, screen time wise. But yeah. So
Reach out to experts. I mean, I think it's really important and I love what you are doing. Tell us a little bit about how you jumped into like doing a mastermind and a retreat. I would love to know. I'm very curious about that because obviously that's not where you started, but
right.
how that evolved. Was that because that community aspect was so important you felt for women, or tell us about that?
Absolutely. I think what I found too was that I love facilitating. I love facilitating. I love having conversations. And I was running a course and I was doing the thing where I was launching every 3 months. It was freaking exhausting. I'm sitting there like, there's gotta be a better way. Like I felt like I was on this hamster wheel of content creation, stress, because if you don't make the numbers on the launch, then it's like, I don't have as many people, and I'm all about community. And I'm like, I want to build a beautiful community for people. First and foremost, the money comes second, right? Money is great. Yes, we need it to live, but I want to build impact driven communities. So I was listening to a podcast one day and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. Like, I want to create a mastermind. How freaking cool is it to get a bunch of people in the room, experts in different spaces that are all trying to get towards a common goal, and allow them to provide insight to this individual, right? Because when what I was hearing was like these hot seats would actually solve other people's problems. And I'm like, this is so cool. Okay, yes, this sounds awesome. So I ended up finding a coach to help me build a mastermind. He was amazing. It changed my life, Melissa. Like it changed my life. I went from hustling, stressed out, launching, to the point of where I had locked in. It all started with 5 people. 5 people. It started with 5 people, and it was an ever enrolling. So it's consistently ever enrolling. And what I have found is it's been not only transformational for the people that have been in it, but for myself. And it also is much less stressful.
Which is what, like, especially after you have kids, like, because you started this before you had your
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
So like you had a different, world there. And then
Yeah.
to transform, now you have a little one that you are caring for and you're not sleeping, all these things. It's like, you totally have to be able to, I don't believe in balance, but you have to find that harmony and what feels right for you, like
Yeah.
right now. And that hustle mentality is like, it's no more. I mean,
Well, and let me be very clear on that. It doesn't mean that we don't have to hustle. There's different seasons of hustle in our businesses. And so like my business is Reinvent Your Hustle, right? But it's like understanding that you do have to do the hard work. I want to be clear on that. Like it does take work, but you don't have to hustle so hard all the time. And so I spend 2 hours a week with my mastermind clients. That's it. I Voxer with them, but it's allowed me to make 6 figures from a mastermind, over 6 figures from a mastermind. And yes, it's transformational for them, but it also is transformational for me in that I've scaled my time, and it allows me to spend time with my daughter. It also allows me to have that community aspect where I'm able to empower women and see them empower one another. And it gives me a community platform to then sell retreats as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So to jump into the retreats. So when I started the mastermind, I thought, I want to do all the things and I want to travel for free and all that stuff. And so I built the trips into the mastermind, and I found that was not as profitable as I wanted it to be. In fact, I wasn't making any money, to be very truthful. So what I did was I said, okay, let's flip the script. Let's pivot again. The retreats are completely separate. If people want to come on the mastermind retreats, if they're in my mastermind, they can get almost half off, right? Cool. They're getting a stellar discount, basically covering the cost. Like, come with me, come on vacation. Let's mastermind together in person, because we all know getting together in person is so much different than over Zoom. And like you and I met in person. It's like the most amazing way to build relationships with other women.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it formulated. And I said, okay, and then I'm going to sell it to the general public. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I love new energy. I think that new energy sparks innovation. It sparks ideas. It brings a whole new light to the trips themselves. It also allows me to build relationships with them. My business is built on relationships. And if I want to bring more people into the mastermind, if it's the right opportunity for them, then they can get to know me and see that obviously what I'm creating is beneficial to them. And so retreats have been super awesome. I've enjoyed them so much. We've done, let's see here, I've done Virgin Islands twice. So I went in March this last year and then the year before. We've done Costa Rica, we've done Yellowstone, and then we have Sedona coming up in October. So
so amazing. You've listed some places. I'm like Yellowstone. Oh my God. Like I want to be there. Like that's one of my places, especially after watching the show too. Well, Yellowstone is in Montana, but anyway, I still like, I hear Yellowstone and I'm like, okay, just nature, being out, like mountains, like trees. Like
I know I want to do Banff. I feel like Banff would be a lot of fun up in Canada.
I'm sure that will happen in the next couple of years for you. For making it happen. Okay.
We
cannot talk all day, Kristine. We cannot talk all day. Good. I said we're gonna have 3 podcast episodes. So for this one, to wrap it up, is there anything, you have shared so many great nuggets for all these like amazing female entrepreneurs or these people that want to be that female entrepreneur, like giving them hope, saying you can do this. Let's start somewhere. Is there anything you haven't shared that you feel like is still on your heart for those mamas out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's always an easier way. And so let's go back to intuition. Let's go back to finding your purpose. Let's go back to finding like what lights you up. If you're doing something and it isn't lighting you up, stop for a minute. We have what's called the vagus nerve. If you haven't heard of it, it's basically this nerve in your body. And when we make decisions, what ends up happening is your gut tells you something or your heart tells you something, and then it goes directly up the vagus nerve to your brain. All of a sudden logic sets in and it's like, I can't do that. That's not realistic. That can't happen. But it doesn't go back down to your gut to gut check, right? And so what I want you to take from this is like, you are so freaking powerful when you use all of you, not just your brain. We have brain cells in our heart and in our gut. Like use it all. Double check with your intuition. Get quiet. Take the time to truly be able to like step aside from the daily life. I don't care if you have to go to a hotel. I don't care if you have to go away from your home, your kids, whatever it is, or go into a room and lock yourself in it. No dog, no nothing. And just take a breath, take a breath, put on some really calming music. If you want my vision meditation, let me know. I'll send it over.
Yes, please.
Light a candle and take a breath, because here's the deal. You are the only person that can change your life. You're the only one that's looking out for number one. And the world needs your voice. The world needs more women standing in their power and truly making a difference, because we are empathetic beings. We are wonderful humans that can make a positive change. And if you don't do it, who else will?
Yeah. I think you were saying that right to me. I believe that right through the camera right now. So thank you. Okay, so if you're listening on the podcast, make sure you go check us out on YouTube, because then you can see us and you can see Kristine's gorgeous hair and her beautiful earrings. And she must have a vision board down there. I mean, lots of good stuff going on. Yeah, lots of good stuff going on. So thank you for that. That was amazing. Okay, my last question that I ask every single person that comes on this podcast, because we do not celebrate ourselves enough. Now, I know you're into that intuition, all these different things, but I want to ask you, what do you really love about yourself right now, my friend?
Yes. Okay, I'm closing my eyes and pondering on that. Here's what I would say. I have been getting all of these signs to step into my spirituality that much more, step into my intuition, and truly be able to like change lives. And I'm really proud. I'm building this like side business, and it's meditation boxes for entrepreneurs. Ooh. And I am very like, I'm just really proud that I've been able to like step back. It's not all about the money. It's about the change, the transition, right? Getting people to that next level of where they want to be. And like just taking a step back and embodying that is such a big deal to me, because the more I can do that, the more I can help others. Yeah. And so it sounds super cheesy, but like being able to take the time, because honestly, with a 5-month-old, like there is not much time to meditate. And so That is my goal this month. And I have been trying to do that whenever I need like a reality check. I just sit and I meditate and I get quiet. And so, yeah, I guess I hope that answers your question, but like that's something I'm really proud of. And I'm celebrating this month.
There is no right answer, by the way. So whatever your answer is the perfect and most complete answer. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How can people find you? Because all these women listening are going to be like, I need to know Kristine. Like, I want to know about her retreat and her
You're so
mastermind and all the things.
They can find me at reinventyourhustle.com and just go to my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Support a small business owner. I would love to chat with you if you're trying to find your soul calling, your purpose, whatever it is. Feel free to shoot me a DM there. But that's where I love to hang out, and I love chatting with other women. So
awesome.
yeah.
Fun. Oh, well, thank you so much for this. It was very impactful, and I know it's going to help so many mama entrepreneurs out there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.